Welcome back, everyone. Phoenix 3 here, and I actually want to talk about my thoughts on the Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Now, I didn't know about this for a while now. I didn't want to make a video about it, but I see other people are doing it, so I'm going to go ahead and give my take on it as well. They did make a trailer for the Final Fantasy 7 Remake. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. Now, Final Fantasy 7 is probably one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, like out there, next to Final Fantasy X. I know some people might say 10 sucked, but I enjoyed 10 as well for what it was. And a lot of the things about Final Fantasy 7 to me was just the story, the characters, the wackiness that the game was. And a lot of us wanted the game to be remade. Now, I should probably say when I say Final Fantasy 7 is my favorite. Final Fantasy VII was the first 3D Final Fantasy VII game that I played. And I'm pretty sure that's the same with a lot of you other guys. It was the first 3D Final Fantasy that we've played. Some played 8 first, somebody played 9 first. But for me and a lot of people in my generation, Final Fantasy VII was the one I remember the most. When I had my PlayStation, I didn't have a memory card, and you can imagine how hard it was to play this game. So once I got all of that and got to play the game, it was actually quite intense. And I know some people have some concerns and stuff like it. And, I have my own wishes for the game as well. And the one thing that a lot of people seem to talk about is the battle system. And I'm going to go ahead and give my opinions on the battle system I would like for this game as well. I still want the battle system in Final Fantasy VII Remake to be turn-based. The reason I want it to be turn-based is because I could control my whole team and make up strategies on the fly. It's not going to be like in other games where it's AI controlled, where I'm completely at the mercy of what the AI wants to do. And if any of them goes down, then I have to do something. Like, it's kind of like how you're playing Kingdom Hearts and Goofy and Donald are always dying. And you have to stop what you're doing to make sure that they don't die, which places you in harm. You have to stop what you're doing to go help them out. I simply don't want that. I want the game to be turn-based where we can control our characters. Now, I don't want it to be turn-based like the active battle system that they had for 7. I don't think it was bad in 7, but I really don't like having to rush through options to be able to do something. So I would prefer the battle system that Final Fantasy X had. It was, in my opinion, probably one of the better battle systems that I've seen in the game. You can switch back and forth between all of your characters in battle and make new strategies on the fly. You could switch your weapons in battle. You could have access to other options, and I think that would work well here in Final Fantasy VII. Because if you guys play Final Fantasy VIII, which I'm sure you know, or sure you have, then you guys know how painful that battle system was. Constantly being attacked by enemies. If you happen to come across a random bad guy enemy, like the mini boss enemies, they hit you once for like 7,000 damage, and they just keep hitting you over and over again while you're still trying to recover from that attack. And so, I just don't like that kind of battle system. I rather actually take my time and plan my moves. I attack the boss, then once we get our turns, the boss attacks us, and I can respond accordingly. Like a lot of my deaths in Final Fantasy VII to the secret bosses like the Ruby weapon and stuff like that was because they attack me faster than what I can respond to. And that is even once I do turn the battle timer slow. I like to play it fast like everybody else so battles end quicker. But I want to have time to think my moves through. I want to have time to plan everything out and then attack. I don't like the whole idea of being attacked while I'm trying to do something or while I'm trying to plan something out, because that's just a pain. I know some people like it, and I know a lot of people want to see it move from a turn-based battle system into a more active battle system. I wouldn't be opposed to it if they were to do it. I think ever since Advent Children came out, people really started looking at Final Fantasy in a completely different light. And it might be the same way here. the models that they're using or the design of the world of Final Fantasy VII is going to be heavily based on Advent Children. I believe they're going to use a lot of the same assets from that movie in this game. So we may see an active battle system where you get to completely move around, attack enemies and stuff like that. But of course, if a system like that happens, your team is going to be AI controlled. And I generally just don't like AI controlled in games. I'd rather be able to control my whole party. Hopefully, it doesn't end up being something like Dirge of Cerberus, where you just play one character the entire time. I don't think it's going to be. It's going to be a remake, but the battle system is one that may be interesting to see for sure. Because I know I want turn-based. Some people want active battle systems like Final Fantasy 15, and some people want the battle system to be like Kingdom Hearts. I wouldn't be opposed to any of the three. I just feel a traditional turn-based RPG might be better for this game since it is a remake. Another thing is the enemies. Like I'm curious to see the enemies design in this game because if you play Final Fantasy VII, you know you can completely fight anything. I mean, in the very first part of the game, you can fight like a house. You fight walls and weeds and I mean, anything you can think of, you fight in this game. So I wonder if they're going to carry over that same wackiness that Final Fantasy VII had into the Final Fantasy VII remake. Because I feel that was part of the charm, is that the game didn't take itself seriously, but it expected you to. So I kind of want to see what happens there. And I hope the chocobos still are as cute as ever, because I love my birds. And I really want to do more with the chocobos. And the only thing that really gets me excited is how like the flying saucer is going to be. Just all the mini games that you do. Now, like every remake, you can expect differences. Pretty much like Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. There are going to be differences in the game. There may even be differences in the story because we got to remember this game here is old. This game came back in like the 1990s for the most part. And storytelling back then is completely different than storytelling now in games. Whereas that game might have been, I don't even know how many hours it is, just like straight play through everything. But the game will be longer. There will be more to do in the game. And since it is going to be in HD and there's going to be more teams working on this game, we're going to see a lot of additional content. Hopefully, one of the things that they do fix is that you can't miss content because that will suck. Because I missed Zero Bomb in my first playthrough of Final Fantasy VII. I missed Vincent in my first playthrough of Final Fantasy. Like I missed a lot of crucial stuff. We can also probably expect to see some bugs fixed, like for instance the W item clone glitch. That will probably be fixed as well. If it's not fixed, then more power to everybody, but that will probably be fixed. Like I just have a lot. I'm looking forward to this game. Back in the PlayStation 2 days, people might have brought it up. It's like, it'd be cool to have a Final Fantasy 7 remake for the PS2. But I feel that that wish didn't really start hammering in until like the PlayStation 3 era, when games were like really HD and the PlayStation 3 looked good. It feels weird now to say the PlayStation 3 is dated. Like I never thought I'd say that, but now we're here in the era of the PlayStation 4, and it's finally happening. We're getting what we wanted. I seriously hope they make like a $750 collector's edition just so I can get it. That'd make me feel good. I mean, because anybody will pay anything for this game. They can sell this game for $200 just by itself, and people will still buy it. People won't even care. I mean, they'll complain about the price, but they'll still buy it. It's like I just remember that E3 that they had for the for the PlayStation 3. They got on stage. Square was up there, and they started talking about Final Fantasy 7, and then they showed like a Final Fantasy 7 tech demo. It was a tech demo where they completely reanimated the intro to Final Fantasy 7 with the way it would look on a PlayStation 3, and we thought we was getting a remake right then and there, but it's like, no, it's just a tech demo. We're just trying to see what we can do here. Then they get back on again saying, you've waited for an HD, Final Fantasy 7, and they just said, everybody getting all hype. It's like now we're going to be re-releasing Final Fantasy 7 for the PlayStation in HD with rezzed up graphics. And we're like, oh man, come on, man, you built all that up, and then just just trolling, and then I'm pretty sure everybody there thought this was a troll too when they showed it. But it's like, nope, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it's happening. So it just makes me wonder, out of all the time they've been trolling us with this, that they have been working on this game, and they just didn't say anything about it. And they finally busted out now, PlayStation 4. So I'm super excited for this. Man, I'm trying to be subtle about it right now because it's 3 a.m. right now, and people are asleep, and I don't want to just like scream like I want to, especially when I found out about it. So that was pretty cool. So hopefully we can see a lot more characters. It'll be nice to see a little more of Eris's backstory and stuff like that, because we're gonna have to go through that scene again where she gets killed by Sephiroth, and we're gonna have HD graphics and PlayStation 4 graphics, so we're gonna have to see that scene again in HD, and I'm sure we don't want to deal with it, but it's gonna have to be it's gonna happen. We asked for it, so we're gonna have to deal with it. Hopefully, we can have a more entertaining Sephiroth fight. That'd be interesting. Maybe in addition, I would like to see are some battles that devolve into quick time events. I think that'd be pretty cool. Like we'll be fighting a boss, and then a series of quick time events will happen where if you call them right, you damage the boss. If you call them wrong, you take damage. And of course, your HP will be counting down the whole time. So if you lose all your HP during that event, you fail the fight and have to start the whole thing over. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, just see the way the game is going to evolve from what it is then to what it will be when we get the game. Now, we didn't get a release date on it. We don't know anything about it. We just saw the remake trailer. So, you know, hype. And that's all I got. I'm curious to know what kind of battle system that you all want the game to have. Like, I want turn-based, and I would prefer Final Fantasy X's battle system for this game. Just a little more, well, it was already balanced, but different camera angles and stuff like that. It'll be nice if you can control the camera angle in battle, similar to what you could do on Legend of Dragoon. You can push the two bumpers on the back, and it'll change the camera. And also, how you guys feel about the enemy designs for your game. Like, do you want them to have those same wacky enemies? Because I know I do. That's what made the game funny, is like you never know what you're going to fight. So, I guess leave your comments below about the stuff I just talked about, and I hope to see you all in my next video.